Welcome, my friends, to another entry in our Community Cast series. In this match, we're going to have a showdown between Bretonnia, who shall be led by Lumberjocks, and the Dinosaurs, who are going to be led by Hitman Fluffy. So on that note, guys, let's jump right into this match and have some fun. So for the glorious forces of Bretonnia, here in the front line, it's going to be a massive core of the most elite warriors in the old world, the peasant mob. So all jokes aside, these guys are a pretty good tar pit, and oftentimes the Dinosaurs do come with a very elite army in the Bretonnian matchup. They're going to be coming with Carnosaurs and Temple Guard, and having this massive bodies just to kind of distract those guys and allow your Knights to do the heavy hitting isn't a bad idea. So he's got a bunch of peasant mobs in the front line stretching into the sunset, certainly quite a few of those guys. But aside from that, in the secondary, he has his more elite troops, which are going to be Spearmen at Arms on the flanks, but more importantly in the center, the Men at Arms, the Pole Arms, and he does also have the Beast Slayers of Bastion somewhere. It looks like they're over here, yes. So these guys are very good against dinos in sustained combat versus infantry. So for example, if they're fighting Temple Guard, at the very least they have decent armor piercing values and good melee defense. So yeah, they'll obviously lose in a vacuum, but still they're going to be able to at least have some AP to put a dent in those guys. Two groups of peasant archers, and of course they're very good against large targets, I should mention. He does have two groups of peasant archers, a Grail Relique here, which is going to be giving that immune to psych and really is going to be allowing those halberds to fight for quite some time. A very old school tactic from the early days of Bretonnia, using the Grails and the halberds, just the Grail Relic, is it Reliquary or Relique? I never know, whatever. But using this to kind of hold in the center, allow those halberds to fight for a long time is incredibly strong. Now for Cav, he does have Questing Knights. Now Questing Knights, a lot of people opt to go Questing Knights instead of Knights of the Realm in this matchup because Questing Knights simply have better AP. So if you're fighting an AP monster that has like 140 or like Lord Mazda Mundi or 120, having the AP on the Questing Knights arguably is going to be a little bit better simply because they're going to be better against infantry as well. So if they're fighting like Temple Guard or cycle charging them or fighting Saurus, their AP is going to be really good. So I really do like the Questing Knight pick as well. So he's got three of those guys, one of which is going to be the Companions, and he has a Damsel with the Shield of Thorns, Earthblood, and it looks like the Dwellers Below, which is something that is probably brought to deal with Death Star. So if they come in with like a Temple Guard blob, it could be pretty good there. He does have King Lewin up in the skies, again, another AP beast. I really like this pick as well. So for the forces of the Dinosaurs, he does have a front line of Skinks who are going to be serving as a buffer, and it looks like they're going to be in glorious mortal combat against those peasant mobs. Quite excited to see that engagement, but in the back, a little bit more standard. He does have the Legion of Chaqua here, which is going to give missile resist, but more importantly, they're a pretty good anti-large durable unit with 60 melee defense. These guys are certainly very tough to kill, much like Steven Seagal. Star Chamber Guardians here, and Lord Croak, going to be just dropping bombs and buffing things. Pretty good stuff. Lord Mazda Mundi, so the double Salon beatdown. And Mazda Mundi does have Nets, Apotheosis, and that's pretty much it. Because again, Croak is very mana intensive, so going narrow on Mazda Mundi is a good choice. Two groups of Coldland Spear Riders, Halberds on the flanks with the Temple Guard, Source Warriors on this side, but Coldland Spear Riders are supporting both parts of that formation. So let's get the show on the road, guys, and see if the peasants of Bretonnia can overcome the bestial might of these, not bestial, it should be like primordial or something, might of these dinosaurs. So Lewin's going to be going in, prodding for freebies, but it looks like these Skinks are going to be falling back a little bit. Obviously, he doesn't want to go too crazy because there are some Cav units here who, of course, are anti-large, so if Lewin were to get surrounded, granted, he could go for like a distraction charge or like charge in against the Coldland Spear Riders, which will happily sit there, and then at that point, he could charge in with the Companions and get that free charge. That is something that could work relatively well, but it looks like he's going to be thinking about charging in against these Skinks, who are a little bit disconjointed from the main formation. So Lumberjocks is going to be coming in for that charge right here, and he's probably going to get a couple Skinks at least, maybe one or two. I mean, it's still some HP damage. They are frightened by the enemy unit. Can't blame those guys. But it looks like Lewin does take out 4 Skinks, which is going to make the fight a little bit easier for the peasant mob. So now, in the front line, we have the fight of fights. We have Skinks fighting peasants. Now, the Skinks will definitely win this fight. Skinks, of course, have better combat stats. 20, 24, 25 against 18, 10, 16. So the peasant mobs, do they have more HP? It looks like peasant mobs do have about 800 more HP, give or take, starting out. So they are going to endure, but yeah, the Skinks will eventually win that fight, which is not something you hear terribly often. Now, in the meantime, Lewin is thinking about getting this engagement going. Peasant archers are going to be shooting into the Cav here, just trying to apply some of that sweet poison. But it looks like the Lizardmen Cav are actually going to be charging into the front. So looking to feast on some of these peasants here. And Lord Croak is going to be dropping a Vortex in the back, but you can see a good awareness here by the Bretonnian player. He is able to dodge that, which is quite nice. So in the meantime, Mazda Mundi is going to be surging in as well. Mazda Mundi is quite thick. I mean, the Halberds have decent leadership by Bretonnian standards, and it's good that they're actually fighting some of these Spear Riders here. That is a very good situation. Now, the Bretonnians are going to get ready for a hammering formation. Lewin has engaged, and it looks like these Coldland Spear Riders might have been forgotten about. We're going to find out here in a second. The peasant archers are going to poison those guys, but nonetheless, they are going to get tar pitted by the peasant mobs here, and it looks like Croak Daddy's going to be dropping some bombs here, going to be nuking away the halberds and peasants, and this is going to be doing some substantial damage. So good cast there, despite forgetting those cav. Oh man, a massive charge coming in. So the Bretonnians pretty much just get shreked right there. Their halberds and the peasants get wrecked. But the Questing Knights are going to be surging in here, hitting these Coldland Spear Riders, getting some really good damage. And I mean, it's pretty easy. They were kind of lurking in the tree. So if he didn't like look at the minimap again, he could have just missed them, which is certainly something that happens quite often. Now, in the meantime, the Coldland Spear Riders on the other side and the peasants are, yeah, they're getting mowed down. Men-at-Arms are going to be fighting the Legion of Chaqua, which is going to be a pretty good engagement for the halberds here, and you can see here that it looks like there's going to be a Dwellers Below going down. So Supreme Shield of the Old Ones is going to get dropped to kind of counterplay that, but it looks like it did some very good damage against those Temple Guards. So you guys remember when that spell was like incredibly OP and it just used like one-shot anything it would touch, man, those were some wild times. But the Halberd Star Chamber Guardians with the Shield of the Old Ones are going to be able to endure it relatively well, and it looks like they're going to be surging in to where Lord Mazdamundi is fighting. And if you look in the back, the peasants are chasing off the Coldwood Spear Riders, and the companions are just on a murder spear right now. These guys are just going in, and they're going to be relieving these very beleaguered halberds, which are fighting a very uphill battle against these elite swords. So it looks like Questing Knights are going to be hammering in from both sides. So there was a couple from this side as well who are going to be rushing over to intercept these Coldland Spear Riders. And the bounce fire is in the favor of the Bretonnians. Granted, you always have to respect the Hutt. I mean, Jabba the Hutt and Lord are just so tough to kill, and the Beast Slayers of Ashdod could easily just be nuked here by Lord Croak if he decides to. Mazdamundi's going to be jumping in the back, going after the Peasant Bowman with the Pox arrows, trying to get some freebies, and it looks like there's going to be some witchcraft, maybe an Apotheosis going down, or a Dwellers Below again from the Bretonnians, and it is a Dwellers Below, so let's go ahead and watch this. It's doing some pretty, almost 300 damage a tick on that. That is a lot of damage. So doing a ton of work against the Star Chamber Guardians here. Very, very good stuff. You don't see that terribly often, so definitely give some props to the Lumberjacks here for trying something a little bit unorthodox. So the Halberd battle is still going on, and it looks like the peasants are actually starting to win it. The Men-at-Arms with Polearms are trying to win it because of the help of the Questing Knights and their cycle charging. Halberds here are fighting in the center pocket, the Temple Guards, and it looks like there's a big old angry Bretonnian charge coming in. Going to be cleaving through some of these guys, and the companions definitely look pretty cool. Imagine the strength you would need. Oh, I guess he's doing like a stabbing motion. Like this, I thought he was going to do like an underhanded swing with like a great weapon, like just like that. That would be take a lot of force to actually do some damage there. But the lizard, it looks like the weapon a little bit disconjointed from his hand, is going to be throwing a spear at the feet of the companions. But yeah, these knights coming in just hammering the Legion of Chaqua. Man, the leadership on those guys is quite impressive. Lumberjacks also charging in here with King Lewin, going to be hammering into those guys. And you can see Jabba the Hutt is chasing off peasant archers, which is good, but it's also a bit of a waste of his time. I mean, I guess you need to shut those guys down, but even still, they don't do that much damage. So Lord Croak here going to be dropping some thunder, which is most certainly going to annihilate the Beast Slayers of Ashdod. It does a ton of damage and also shreks the Spearmen at Arms over here. So these Temple Guard plus Croak might be able to stabilize this situation, and of course Mazdamundi is always a perpetual threat, but the Bretonnians still have Questing Knights here. They have some peasant mobs in the distance chasing. These guys are like, hey, you know what? If we just chase off these fleeing units, we're not going to have to fight anymore. So let's just chase these guys into the sunset and let, you know, the big boys finish this battle down here. So Lewin and company are able to clean up the Legion of Chaqua. Granted, they still have a fight for him. They have Lord Croak, they have some Halberds here, they have Star Chamber Guardians who are going to be giving the Guardian ability to Mazdamundi. So it's going to be a little bit of meat that the Bretonnians have to push through here, but certainly, I guess it depends on the winds of magic. Ruination of Cities is going to be going down over here, which does hit the Peasant Bowmen, and the Halberds here definitely quite strong. And the Bretonnians look like they're gathering their steam here for a final battle. Some of the Spearmen at Arms are going to be surging in and will be sacrificed to the old ones. And the Companion's in good shape, though, so they're probably just looking for that opportune engagement, trying to find a way to kind of maybe get around the Star Chamber Guardians, waiting for Jabba the Hutt to overextend and get away from his reinforcing elements. So the Quest Knights are going to be piling in here. Here they come, the first charge of the Bretonnians. It's going to be thwarted a little bit by Mazdamundi, to be honest, and you can see Lewin in the back charging in. Maybe it was just a distraction to allow the more elite knights to charge in on the other side. And it looks like the Star Chamber Guardians and Temple Guard are taking some damage, but the Supreme Shield of the Old Ones is going to be going down here. I believe that's Supreme Shield of the Old Ones. Yeah, both of them. I believe they actually stack. So it's going to be 66% ward save going down on those guys. So the Bretonnians are going to be forced back a little bit. Mazdamundi is going to be charging to the Quest Knights, killing a couple models on impact. So even though he is, quote-unquote, a bonus for his infantry character, he's still quite good against single entities. So King Lewin is able to finish off the Temple Guard. Star Chamber Guardians should be immune to psychology, but they're actually not, interestingly enough. You would think that they would be, right? They're like these like elite guardian, like, I don't know, it just seems like they should be immune to psych. Anyways, the Companions are going to be charging in here and getting netted, actually, by Jabba the Hutt, it looks like. There's some sort of a net effect went down. Mazdamundi is going to be charging in, trying to free up Croak, because Croak Daddy is taking a lot of damage from Lewin Kerr. Lewin is going to be attacking Croak, and Croak has pretty low melee defense. It's only 21, so it's not going to be terribly substantial. But here there's going to be a banishment effect, it looks like going down, or actually going to be a Croak bomb. So the Croak is probably would have been better used here, but again, the Knights could have dodged it easier than the Peasants, and I guess he could potentially break off both Peasants here, although these ones are still confident, believe it or not, which is quite impressive. And the companions still circling in, trying to finish off Croak. But again, Lizardmen are a very tenacious faction, very tough to kill. And with that, the dinosaur player is going to withdraw. And that's going to be game for Bretonnia. So I think that's a very hard matchup for Bretonnia in general. So certainly a cool replay to show a neat build using halberds and questing knights, taking advantage of the AP on those guys. I definitely like that quite a bit. And of course, using the leadership buff from the Grail here to kind of keep those halberds fighting. I like that. And he also had gold chevrons on those guys, something I didn't notice. But yeah, that's quite substantial. So definitely a neat build here. And for the dinosaur build, there's elements of the build I liked. I think Mazdamundi and Croak can be quite overwhelming. The Skinks, I think just kind of the play with the Cold One Spear Riders on the flanks was probably something that cost him quite a bit. Because Cold One Spear Riders typically on paper will trade relatively effectively with Quest Knights. So I think what he should have done was maybe keep the Skink cohorts in reserve a little bit. Like keep them... That's really expensive though. Croak plus Mazdamundi is going to give you a very elite narrow army. I don't know. Both of those guys is a little bit much too. I think maybe just going for one or the other. Like going for like a Red Crested Skink Chief instead of Mazdamundi will save you like 1,000 gold plus Lord Croak just to nuke things, or just go for Croak and his spells. I think that's a little bit expensive. I mean, going elite against Bretonnia does work very well, but I still think, and obviously letting the Cold and Spear Riders get compromised in that flank. I mean, there was a lot going on, so understandably that could happen to anyone. But using the Star Chamber Guardians like to kind of screen, or some of the Skinks in the back to kind of screen a little bit, and then allow the Cold and Spear Riders to countercharge could have been good. But yeah, it's a very expensive force. And, these Quest Knights plus Lewin were very exceptional at cutting through that elite butter. So well played to both players, the Lumberjacks who sent in the replay, as well as Hitman Fluffy. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. And on that note, let us go ahead and take a look at a Lizardman build that I think would be pretty good against Bretonnia. So we'll go to custom battles, some theory crafting. I don't play Lizardmen terribly often, but nonetheless, the Red Crested Skink Chief could be a pretty good choice up on his steed. With the Warrior's Crest, he can duel with the best of them, so you can do some serious work. And then if you wanted to get like Lord Croak or something, you could. Honestly, I think the Heavens Caster is probably better. The Heavens Caster is so good here. Like, you just get him up on his little dude, and he's going to be able to just fly away and cackle. You get Wind Blast, which just annihilates the halberds. It, like, annihilates all the Bretonnian infantry. Then you just get the, one Wind Blast on Peasant Archers is a one-shot. Just about. They'll run right away if you get a good cast. Same thing on the halberds. And then you get the Harmonic Convergence, which is going to be very strong as well. And now you have, the formation of a pretty good army. So if you want to go elite, get Star Chamber Guardians and 2 Temple Guard. That's probably going to be ample as far as that goes. You can get a couple Cold One Spear Riders. But, you do need to kind of pressure a little bit because of the Peasant Archers. But that's what the Skink Priest with Heavens is for. He's just going to be kind of pushing his way through and just doing his thing there. And from there, you could get some like cheaper Sora Spears on the flanks, just on the edges of the formation to kind of, secure, do your thing. And you have the big dinosaurs. Now, dealing with Lewin is the biggest issue, but the Skink Chief with the buffs should be able to fight him, especially with Harmonic Convergence and Star Chamber Guardian support. Arc of Sotak, not really worth it. You have a bit of money to spend. You could get some chaff units just to kind of, fight. So you can get like a couple of these guys if you want, and then get like, honestly, yeah, maybe even getting some cohorts might not be a bad idea, but just getting a couple of them. I think a build like this would be pretty good. It's very defensive. You get a little bit of punch here from the Red Crested Skinks and spread poison in the front line. Star Chamber Guardians and Temple Guard would be good. Wind Blast kills their casters, and then of course the Red Crested Skink Chief is a very powerful duelist. So again, well played to both players. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the battle as well as the post-game breakdown, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.